Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the recent decision that has been taken by the European Union to ban the Russian oil, and we are going to discuss in this particular video that what is going to be the short term as well as the long term effect of this decision on India as well as the whole world. So let us try to understand about the complexities of this issue in more detail. So first of all, the context in which we are discussing today's issue is because the European Union member states, which has total 27 member countries, have decided and have reached a consensus on 30th of May that they will ban almost 90% of the Russian crude oil import by the end of this particular year, that is 2022. This ban is a part of the sixth package that has just been announced by European Union. A package is of sanctions that has been levied upon Russia due to its invasion of Ukraine. The partial embargo worked out following extended negotiations that were going on in Brussels. Brussels, to tell you that it is the main headquarters of European Union, and also the Parliament of European Union is situated here. So the ban finally worked out and the decision was finally taken consensually by all the member countries. However, certain exemptions has been provided, and exemptions is with regards to the pipeline oil that Hungary receives directly from Russia. So we'll discuss about that also in a while. Now, what was the original proposal? Because the proposal that has been passed as a part of sixth sanction package is not complete or is slightly different from the original proposal that was given by Ursula von der Leyen somewhere in the May month of this particular year. And in that particular proposal, she proposed that European Union should try to completely phase out the Russian crude oil and refined products from the EU territory. Right now, the ban will phase out 90% of import by the end of year, while she was proposing to have a complete blanket ban on the Russian oil. The seaborne and pipeline crude oil were included in that particular ban package, and she suggested that the time frame, instead of phasing out the oil by the end of year, should be done in the time period of only 6 to 8 months. However, due to protest and this adverse comments by certain countries, this proposal was not passed in its original form. Now, what was the rationale behind such kind of sanctions? So first of all, we know that Russia is a very natural resource oriented country, and it depends heavily on the export of its energy commodities, for example, oil and gas. And due to their heavy dependency on energy export, it was expected that every year or every day almost European Union itself is paying billions of dollars to Russia in the form of energy prices. So by this way, by providing a blockage to this Russian oil and gas, European Union will be able to block the massive revenue inflow that is happening to the Russia and thus strengthening the economy of Russia. And so that why ban was proposed? Because once this massive revenue inflow can be blocked, the Russia will have no other option but to roll back its military offensive, because it will suffer from severe economic crisis. Not only that, the ban is also in line with the long-term European Union objectives. What are these long-term European Union objectives? So two major objectives are there. The first objective is that European Union as a whole is trying to shift toward the renewable energy, and that is why they are trying to ban and trying to decrease their dependency on the fossil fuel. So the ban will go a long way in providing impetus to that. The second objective of European Union is to become strategically autonomous and thus overall have less dependency on the Russia because of the antagonistic nature of the government both the region have. European Union, while it is known for the thriving democracy, free and fair elections and the protection of human rights, Russia on the other hand is a functioning European Union and this Western countries say that it is a kind of democracy, but it is a sham democracy and it is in the garb of dictatorship being ruled by Vladimir Putin for almost 20 years, and it does not have any free and fair elections, and the human rights are put at the lower pedestal. So due to these differences, the European Union want to become less dependent on the Russia. So this was the reason why the Russian oil ban has been proposed. However, as we discussed, the ban in the original form could not be proposed. There has been some compromise that has been reached between various members of European Union. So what is this compromise? The first compromise is that European Union has given a temporary exemption to countries like Hungary, Slovakia and Czech Republic that they will not have to ban Russian oil from a start, and all the Russian oil that is coming to these countries via pipeline through a land will not come under the ambit of this ban. So that is the first exemption. Second is, however, European Union has said that they will ban all the seaborne imports of Russian crude. Seaborne imports means all the crude oil that is coming via ship to the ports of different countries of European Union. And if you look at the number or the amount of this Russian oil that is coming via sea route, it comprises somewhere about 2/3 of the total European Union import. Not only that, since Germany and Poland, both the countries have pledged that by the end of this particular year, they will phase out even their pipeline imports from Russia. It is expected that by the end of this year, 90% of Russia's export toward European Union will be cut off. Now, if we try to look at the figure and the facts that we have today, so as you can see, the amount of seaborne import to European Union from Russia is about 1.57 million barrels per day for the oil, while the pipeline import comprises of about 0.72 million barrels. So collectively, this is a total of 2.3 million barrels per day of oil is being supplied to European Union. And within the next 6 to 8 months, that is by the end of this year, this whole seaboard as well as pipeline import is expected to be totally cut off. So the question comes that why this particular exemptions to some countries have been given. The major countries that has been provided exemption from this oil ban are Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia and Bulgaria. The proposal to exempt this country was vociferously led by the president of Hungary, that is Viktor Orban, who has won the election very recently. The exemption provides that these countries will continue to receive the oil through the Druzhba pipeline, which is the largest oil pipeline network of the world. Now, if we try to look at this map here, as you can see, this whole red region is the Russia. And from this Russia, you can see we have this red line that represents the gas pipeline that comes and goes to different countries of Europe. For example, here this pipeline is going to Germany. Then the same pipeline via the western Ukraine goes to countries like Czech Republic, Hungary, and a part of this pipeline goes even to Poland. Then the Hungary has said that even suppose, because as we can see, the pipeline that goes to Hungary passes via the part of western Ukraine, and since the Ukraine is at war with Russia and Russia is continuously firing missiles on Ukraine, in the possibility or the possible outcome that there has been disruption of this pipeline, and if Hungary is not able to receive the pipeline oil, in that case they will also be able to get seaborne Russian oil. So this is a kind of extra deal that Hungary has been able to get from the European Union. So why exemption for pipeline imports? What are the rationale or what are the basis on which the countries have been exempted? So first of all, we have to understand about the map of Ukraine, map of Europe. So as you can see, the countries that has been given exemption like Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, these three countries are totally landlocked countries. And that is why these countries have said that they do not have any ready option to switch to alternative sources because they lack any kind of ports. And since if the pipeline, oil through pipeline is banned, they will not have any accessibility to port, and that is why they will not be able to access the oil from the seas. Also, the dependency of these three countries on the Russian oil is quite higher. If you look at Hungary, 65% of its oil import come from Russia. For Czech Republic, the figure stands at 50%, while for Slovakia, it is 100%. So, any disruption in the supply to these countries will have a huge ramifications on the population of this country. Now, question comes that why Bulgaria has been exempted? Because if you look at the map of Bulgaria, it has a coastline, it has a port in the Black Sea region. So the reason is simple, because Bulgaria has said that whatever oil refinery they have in the port areas, this oil refinery currently is not able to process any non-Russian crude. The oil refinery has been designed in such a way that they are only able to process the Russian crude, and that is why they require some time to invest in the infrastructure so that they will be able to process the non-Russian crude as well, and when they will be able to do so, they will be able to ban the Russian crude oil and will depend on the crude from some other regions of the world. So this is the main rationale on the basis of which these four countries have been exempted from the ban on the Russian oil. So about apart from that banning the Russian crude oil, what are the other parts of the sixth sanction package in Russia? So the first important part of this package is that till now Russia's largest bank, that is the Sberbank, it was not the it was not included in the sanctions list from the SWIFT. So from now on, the Sberbank, which holds almost 1/3 of Russian banking asset, will also be cut off from the SWIFT. The second part of the package is that European Union also has implemented a ban on 3 Russian-owned broadcasting network from the European Union. That means these broadcasting network will not be able to air their programs in the European Union region. The third part of the package is that several sanctions have been imposed on the individuals of Russia who has been responsible for the war crimes in Ukraine. And not only that, European Union has also decided that they will cut off all the companies, European Union companies, which are providing services like infrastructure services or insurance services, banking services to the Russian oil companies, so that Russia is not able to divert its oil to some third countries. Now, what can be the possible effect of this oil ban on Russia? So first of all, as total about 2 million barrels of oil was flowing to European Union by Russia. So while cutting that, it is expected that Russia will have annual loss of almost $10 billion in revenues. Not only that, since Russia does not have, we can say, storage facilities for this excess oil they are producing, and in case they are not able to sell it to the European Union market, they will have to cut the production by 20 to 30% due to this region. However, experts also believe that this will actually adversely affect the economy of Russia, but how far will it be successful in affecting the war or the stance of Russia's stance on war in Ukraine is not very clear. So the effectiveness of this sanction, at least in the short term, is not expected to be very severe on Russia. Now, what is the India's response on this particular scenario? So once the European Union announced this ban on Russian oil, suddenly due to the disruption of demand, there has been sudden increase in the oil prices across the world. And since past few months itself also, India has been ramping up the presence of Russian crude oil because it is getting the Russian crude at discounted prices following the Russian invasion. And this is expected that the same policy is expected to continue because India also has to take care of its rising inflation, and any disruption in the crude oil supply can have very severe effect on India's inflation, because India is largely a crude importing countries and as well as a gas importing countries. And thus it is expected that since Russia is providing crude at discount of almost 30 to 35 per barrel, India is expected to ramp up its presence in the coming future as well. So that is all about this particular issue. I hope you understood about the nitty-gritties of the European Union ban on Russia and the effect on the world and India. That is all for today. Thank you very much.